With more than 1/3 of new relationships beginning online today, it's safe to say that online dating is here to stay. The good news is that Mately isn't another dating app or social network. Mately is a healthcare utility designed to sit atop and around the online dating experience. One of the most popular dating apps reports 26 million matches per day. That's 52 million individual expressions of interest per day, or 1.5 billion per month, on one app. Yet there isn't a single product out there that does a good job of allowing consumers to submit a small sample from home to a lab, get tested for a full panel of STDs, and then sends the results to them through an app and allows them to share those results with others if they choose. Imagine a future where remaining aware of your sexual health is as easy as mailing a letter. Imagine a future where being able to have access and grant access to your latest results is done with just the push of a button. Imagine a future where you aren't just counting the number of steps you take in a day, but are actively moving toward reducing risk in your daily life. That's the future that Mately sees. Mately was founded on the premise that the best interventions are those initiated by the individual, and by providing a low-cost subscription-based STD testing platform for the modern consumer that fits like a glove around the online dating experience, Mately believes that proactive, regular testing will become a precondition to successfully dating online.
So you understand that online dating has and is continuing to explode, and you understand that STDs are a real problem for which a modern solution is needed. You also understand that consumers want that solution to be a set it and forget it solution. They don't want to go to a doctor's office or local clinic any more than they want to return overdue videotapes. So you get all that. But is Mately a good business? It is, and here's why. Number one, Mately is inexpensive. Mately's members want to get tested more often than they are currently, but they want it to be cheap. Mately won't just be the low-cost provider. We'll offer a killer price that will confound and frustrate the competition. We've developed non-obvious ways to cut our prices to a level that's up to 10 times cheaper than our competition. That's not to say that they can't compete, but it is to say that it's going to take them time to reverse engineer our process. All the while, we'll be building our network and establishing Mately as the trusted standard. Number two, Mately will become a layer on top of the online dating experience. Routine STD testing is interesting maybe once or twice a year for one's own knowledge, but it's absolutely essential if it becomes a filtering criteria that people on dating apps apply to each other. And that's what the placement of the Mately badge on dating site profiles is intended to do. It doesn't say anything about one's results, it just signifies to others that you're a member and that you're able to share your results if asked. The resulting social pressure of that has the potential to completely flip the current standard of reactive testing to one of proactive testing, and that's what you'd be betting on if you invest in Mately. Number three, Mately offers full panel testing with the convenience of at-home collection. People in the media have referred to us as an at-home test. We certainly collect from home, but similarities between us and what you buy at your local drugstore are there. First, over-the-counter tests typically only test for a single condition. We test for everything. Second, at-home tests are perceived by consumers as being error-prone. No such preconception exists for lab-based testing. And third, at-home tests often represent the oldest, most dated in medical technology, with the longest period of time between contraction and detection, referred to as the window period. Mately will offer the most advanced FDA-approved tests available today. In fact, we'll be the only STD testing service to offer early detection, RNA-based HIV testing as standard, which has been shown to detect HIV in as little as 9 to 14 days, as compared to the 28 to 90 days of a typical HIV test offered by our competitors. And fourth and finally, Mately offers its members total certainty and security. How do we know that Joe Smith, who just sent us a sample, is actually Joe Smith? Well, when we onboard him as a member, we confirm his identity and capture a DNA signature using a saliva swab. The process is cheat-proof and is detailed in our explainer video titled What is Mately? With Joe's DNA signature on file, there's never any worry if he's the one who submitted the sample supporting the results he's sharing. Not a single STD testing service has considered features like this. Now we'll talk about traction in a moment, but consider the following stat. We conducted a survey of mostly gay men where respondents were selected through social media. We provided them with a 3-sentence summary of Mately and asked them without any additional context, would they sign up for the service? 60% said yes. We then took them through the rest of the survey and asked again at the end if they'd sign up. 93% said yes. So what does our market look like? How big is it? And how much of it can we capture? We've set 2 market sizes. The first market is a smaller market, but it's a high demand market that we know we can capture quickly, and that's the LGBT market. Dating app usage amongst gay men in the US is 72%. 72% of gay men use dating apps as their primary means of locating romantic partners. In addition, the LGBT community has the spending power of the entire Hispanic community, despite only being a third of the size. They purchase more high-margin beauty products, they spend more on travel, they spend more on alcohol. In short, gay men are our money customer, and we estimate that there are 3 million of them up for grabs. Our second market is a larger market, which is comprised of the LGBT community as well as heterosexual customers. After accounting for marriage rates and dating app usage rates, we come to a population of roughly 5.2 million heterosexual customers who are high-frequency daters and are likely to derive utility from Mately immediately. So that's 5.2 combined with the 3 in the smaller market brings the total of our second market to just over 8.2 million. From there, we model our financials by assuming penetration rate scenarios of 10, 20, and 30%. So that gives us a nice array of 6 possible outcomes from best case to worst case, and our financials and funding needs reflect that spread of outcomes. So clearly we're not operating in a vacuum. So what does the competitive landscape look like for Mately? Now, this will be a little detailed, but I really think it's worth listening to because it'll become crystal clear as to how and why we're different. On the left side of the graphic you're seeing on the screen, we list the relevant dimensions and considerations when assessing our competition. And across the top, we list the types of competitors who are in this market. The first couple of considerations. Is it affordable and does it lend itself to frequency? Local community clinics are free and you can go in anytime, +1 on both. Doctor's office visits are typically covered by insurance, but try getting an STD test every month and see if your insurance keeps paying. So we'll give them a +1 on affordability, but not on frequency. Online services that allow customers to pay out of pocket for testing and go to a physical draw location to submit their sample are very expensive. In some cases, as much as $400 or more for a full panel test. Consequently, because they're not affordable, they're not going to be used frequently, and they aren't. Tests that you can purchase at a local drugstore. Mildly affordable. For example, an at-home HIV test is priced at about $45. Again, because it's only mildly affordable, it's only going to be used infrequently. We'll give it a 0.5 on both. Now our closest type of competitor. These are testing services that offer full panel testing and allow you to collect from home and send to a lab. We're seeing them charge about $200 and up for a full panel of STD tests. Certainly not the $400 plus that we described earlier, but still substantially more expensive than Mately. So we'll give them a 0.5 on price and a 0.5 on frequency because of the price. At $200 a pop, people just aren't going to be doing that every month. Then you've got Mately. Our price is multiples cheaper, starting at a monthly subscription price of roughly $30 a month and going up from there, depending upon the frequency and what tests beyond HIV the customer selects. So we'll give ourselves a +1 on affordability, and in terms of frequency, you can only use Mately by being a member and paying us every month. So a +1 there too. At-home collection. 0 for clinics, 0 for doctor's offices, and 0 for testing services that require you to go to a physical location. Over-the-counter tests, we'll give them a 0.5 because typically they only test for a single condition, whereas mail-in lab-based tests allow you to get tested for a full panel of STDs. Early detection HIV testing. In the case of out-of-pocket testing services where you go to a physical location, this is typically an option you can choose and it puts you in the very highest price point, versus Mately, where we offer early detection as standard. DNA-based identity verification. We're the only company in the space that's even considered the need to verify the identity of the submitter when a sample is being mailed from home. Electronic results. We're seeing it, but it's typically just through PDFs that are sent, which can be edited or through an app that's not optimized for the sharing of results with others. Tamper-proof. Again, nobody else is really thinking about this. Mately customers get a result report that they can print, but if they want to use the Mately app to share results, which they would most likely want to do, the results are completely non-editable. Ability to share results, dating app integration, and the creation of social currency vis-a-vis the Mately badge. We're the only play that's focused narrowly on tethering a recurring, subscription-based STD testing product to online dating. Consequently, our product is optimized for result sharing in a way that others simply are not. Integration with dating apps and the functionality to allow our customers to enable Mately membership badges on their dating site profiles has the potential to keep our customer acquisition costs flat to down as we move out on the demand curve. You might be wondering, why would dating apps be interested? Well, we're going to pay them. Most dating apps have a high proportion of non-paying users. We'll be offering to help them monetize those users by compensating them for each badge that a member turns on, prorated for the percentage of the month that it's activated. A number of dating apps have been responsive to this concept, and we're in talks with several right now. We don't expect you to invest in a team that can't deliver. So why don't we talk about what we've done? First, we've developed from the ground up a beta version of the Mately app. We call it beta because we're not live yet, but it reflects complex business logic with regard to test ordering, the receipt of test results, and the sharing of test results. Second, we've designed an end-to-end testing process and lab workflow that doesn't require any additional FDA approval. Through the hard work of our scientists and with the cooperation of a lab, we have a process that's designed to operate with maximum efficiency in order to offer our customers the lowest possible price. Third, we've come to terms on a deal with a lab partner that will give us exclusivity and complete certainty with regard to our price for 4 years. That means they can't test for our competitors using any of the processes that we developed, and they can't increase our cost of goods unexpectedly. And fourth, we've tested the real-world reception to Mately by placing a number of ads on dating apps, and the response has been great. The click-through rate on our ads has been 5.2% on average, versus the maximum of the range for similar ads, which tops out at around 3.4%. Additionally, we saw a conversion rate, users who actually reserved their membership, on that traffic of about 12.2%. The funds we're seeking to raise will be used to cover basic headcount expenses for our core team, to convert our existing beta app into a production-ready native app for iOS and Android, to fund the acquisition of a few key pieces of equipment needed by our lab partner to execute our testing process and some additional expenses around that, to cover our new member joining fee subsidy until we become cash flow positive, which we offer to all members to make it easier and more cost-effective for them to join, and then general startup costs related to legal, marketing, and miscellaneous SG&A. Our current cap table consists primarily of myself, owning north of 80% of the company, and advisors and employees owning the balance. So we've covered our core value propositions, assessed the size of our market, taken account of the competitive landscape, and reviewed our traction to date in order to substantiate our request for funding. I'd encourage you to have a look at our pitch deck below this video, which goes into greater depth on these points and others, such as our team, much more detail on our financials, and other key areas of our business. I'd also welcome the opportunity to speak with you personally. You can book time directly onto my calendar by using the link below this video. I started this business because a good friend of mine told me one time that he was raising money for the AIDS ride in California. It's an event where people ride up and down the California coast raising money for HIV and AIDS. I was moved because it was a significant investment of time for him. We live in New York, and I knew how passionate he was about it because he had a friend who had recently been diagnosed with HIV. Yet I was saddened to know deep down that all the effort that my friend was putting forth wasn't going to make a bit of difference. What will make a difference, however, are products that remove the oxygen from the system that allows STDs to spread. What will make a difference isn't just throwing money against a wall and hoping it sticks, but instead providing the consumer with products that they can use to protect themselves. And we believe that Mately is such a product, and we hope you do too.